Filing in. But I think why don't I call the meeting to order and we can get started with our safety announcements?
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thank you. Let's move on to our public speakers, please.
Good morning and welcome to New York City Transit's meeting public comment session. We have 18 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA rules of conduct and decorum. We will hear 30 minutes of public comment speakers in the room, after which we will have to transition to a separate live recording session. Recorded comments will be distributed to the MTA New York City Transit's committee and posted to our webpage and YouTube channel. I would also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we will limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker is Carla Girl, followed by Iris Kelly.
Good morning. I'm Kara Girl, Planning and Advocacy Manager at the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA, PCAC. First, congratulations to the new members of the New York City Transit Leadership Team. Riders are in good hands with Bill Amorosa as Senior VP of Subways, Rachel Cohen as VP of Paratransit, and Bernard Jackson joining us as COO from Dallas. Congrats also to Chris Pangilinan on your new role at buses. And Frank, thank you for all you've done for bus riders. Last week, USDOT Secretary Duffy threatened to withhold transit funding for the MTA if the agency doesn't share data and plans on subway safety. The good news is that the MTA and NYPD have been sharing that data for years. The numbers don't lie, and crime rates and fare evasion are way down. And even if the numbers weren't trending in the right direction, defunding the MTA and stopping congestion pricing won't make riders safer. Thank you to Governor Hochul for standing strong in defense of riders. The cameras are staying on, and they'll continue to past the month-long extension. Millions of daily riders depend on transit, as does our regional economy. We need investment, including fully funding the 25 to 29 capital plan. The $35 billion funding gap that Albany needs to fill stands between riders and critical projects like station accessibility, signal upgrades, essential state of good repair work, and expansion projects like the IBX. And we hear that even more elevators are on the way, thanks to ongoing cost savings. But now it's up to the governor and legislators to put their heads together and make sure that our transit infrastructure doesn't crumble. We'll be back in Albany this week, reminding them how important transit is. Our report from last month details dozens of ways that Albany could fund the MTA. And lastly, we were proud to stand with Riders Alliance and CSS last week, calling on the city to expand fare fares to 200% of the federal poverty level and the commuter railroads within New York City. Over 415,000 more New Yorkers would qualify from this common sense change. We appreciated hearing you advocate for this expansion last week as well. Thank you.
The next speaker is Iris Kelly, followed by Elizabeth Abraham.
Okay, the elevators need to be done. I mean, you people need to take care of the settling the case and get the elevators in there and maintained. You don't need to put all that money into it. You have a contractor helping for subway line Second Avenue subway. That's not the most important thing right now. Right now, you need elevators, get these people in, to get people into the subways, get to the city, and the only way to do it is settle the damn case and get those elevators going, keep it going. This way you get more people coming into the city, more revenue would happen, and that can happen by preparing something for a future time. You need something to immediately was done now.
The next speaker is Elizabeth Abraham, followed by Monica Bartley.
Buen día. Mi nombre es Elizabeth Abraham. Un placer de estar aquí. Everybody understand what I'm trying to say? The issue I'm addressing is I put a proposal and I forwarded it to you regarding issues of the drivers who do not speak English. And something needs to be addressed of what they call putting the words in different languages. Spanish, como dice ahora mismo, ¿me entiendes lo que está diciendo? Okay, it could be this French, Russia, and different languages. That is a proposal I put, and I hope it will be productive for everyone, an example. And also I reported and connected with Sydney, where I send the information to the leaders, in particular, I committed to Ms. Rochelle, in terms of the interests of giving attention to people, the drivers, from different multicultural communities coming here. And it's a good example that makes me crazy. The word, the corner. Could you please go to the corner? It's not because you're stupid, it's because I have to say, if they speak Spanish, en la esquina, por favor, en la esquina. So what I'm presenting, you know, I do it with a lot of love because I love Accessoride, is that this be done, so maybe it could be put in different places in New York City. But to start with Accessoride of having translations in different languages where it's opening the doors for a lot of people and some type of support. So once again, I appreciate and hope it was productive, what I sent to you, and maybe the next meeting will give me some good news. It was forwarded to the representatives, the person for Department of the Councilman, the woman is female, and other representatives, MTA, and I give them information. And respond, my name is Elizabeth Abraham. Thank you so much, and I applaud. Hasta luego. Espero que siga bien.
Our next speaker is Monica Bartley, followed by Ian Matthews.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Monica Bartley, and I'm a member of Disabled in Action. 2 weeks ago, I experienced firsthand the frustration and inconvenience that broken elevators can cause for subway riders. I had decided to travel home from Manhattan to Brooklyn, relying on the subway for a quick and efficient commute. However, upon arriving at my intended station, I found that the elevator to the street was out of service. As a result, I was forced to take the train 2 stops back to the nearest accessible station, which caused a significant delay in my journey. While I was fortunate that the elevator at the alternate station was operational, the inconvenience didn't stop there. After getting off the train, I had to take the bus home, something that further lengthened my trip and disrupted my plans. In total, my commute took much longer than if I had been able to exit the subway at my intended stop. Unfortunately, this isn't an isolated incident. The MTA reports that each day about 30 elevators are out of service, and on that day, I just happened to encounter one of them. For those of us who rely on accessible transit options, this is not only a frustration, but a source of anxiety. It's stressful to constantly wonder whether the elevator at your station will be operational or whether you'll face an unexpected detour that adds more time and hassle to your day. We urgently call on the MTA to take action to address this ongoing issue. It's time to settle the case and work toward reducing the number of daily elevator outages to ensure that the subway system is truly accessible for everyone. Accessible transportation is a
Please
basic
conclude your
right,
remarks.
and no one should have to experience these delays
Thank you.
and complications simply because of an elevator
Please conclude your
outage.
remarks. Our next speaker is Ian Matthews, followed by Omar Vera.
All right. Good morning. I'm here to share my concerns about the subway. The first one is there needs to be police patrolling the 4 line tomorrow and Friday because it's skipping stops in the Bronx. And whenever it does, there's kids on top of the trains when this happens. And I've reported this numerous times and nothing is done about it. Also, it's very unfortunate that we have the only accessible station on the 4 line in the Bronx, 170, closed so often because of this work. Because that's the only accessible station on the line. Because 161st and Fordham Road elevators are out of service, meaning after 125th on northbound trains tomorrow and Friday, there aren't going to be any accessible stations, which isn't nice. This is why the elevators at 149th and Marshall need to open up soon. And lastly, the same issue at Bedford Park and Kingsbridge Road stations on the B&D line. There's drug dealers and homeless holding open the gate, letting riders in for free, and there's nothing done about it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Omar Vera, followed by Michael Ring.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the March edition of your board's committee meeting. First, let me just say thanks for standing your ground on the on congestion pricing. Yeah, the feds intended to cancel it on this past Friday, but they were forced to walk back and quote delay it for 30 days or so. But even the New York Post admits that they're gonna have a hard time fighting in the courts, blame the feds against you guys. So yeah, so props to you. Second, I would like to make a recommendation to revive the lower level of the Bergen Street subway stop on the F and G. Revive it and make that station ADA accessible, so passengers can enjoy like local and express service there. So that the F could be more than just simply rush hours in peak direction. It has the capacity to be a full-time express on the northern part of the Culver Corridor. And yes, last but not least, I support the plans forward regarding modernizing our system. That includes CVTC and more NTT subway cars. So see you later.
Our next speaker is Michael Ring, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good morning. My name is Michael Ring, and if anyone needs a verbal description of my appearance, I'm just a 61-year-old white guy who needs a shave, wearing a hoodie, and I'm wearing a hat that says DIA, Disabled in Action. That's the organization I'm representing today. And as part of that organization, we're part of a lawsuit where we're asking for better maintenance on the elevators. Some of you saw us protesting outside this morning. And I think about what better maintenance means, because so many people complain. You know, with rare exceptions, people who can't walk up and down stairs are not taking the subway because the elevators, you can't count on the elevator to work, you can't count on the announcements and the detours. But when we came into this building, I experienced something hardly noticeable but wonderful. We always come in as visitors and we use the first elevator to the left. It wasn't working. We used the second elevator because you have 2 elevators. You know, it was just seamless. This building, no one walked up the stairs. Everyone here has a problem walking upstairs to the 20th floor. But everyone got here with 1 elevator out of order, and no one had to know. It would be really great if the subway worked like that. It's a long-term goal. It's a big picture, but we need to. We can do a lot better. And then people who can't walk up and down stairs will be able to get to work, go to school, and travel the subway like everyone else does. Thanks a lot.
Our next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Lito Dupree.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christopher D. Greif, ADA Accessibility Transportation President. As a lot of us have been talking about safety, I am glad to see NYPD at stations, but NYPD should not be the only ones. Should be, you know, they do a lot of work. They try to stop people, what they're supposed to do. But where is the homeless division supposed to be there? Seniors and disabled people who do pay the fare are trying to get on trying to go through the gate. And NYPD is there, and they said you're not supposed to go through unless the person, the wheelchair worker, pays, which they do correctly, and I really appreciate them, as well as the guards. But again, we still have to work on the homeless because they are interrupting our services, not just on the subways, but at times on buses. First, I want to congratulate Rachel Cohen as the accessory vice president. And I know this will go really well in the future and more new stuff will come up. But we still need to make it clear that congestion pricing needs to stay where it is because we need the funding for accessibility. And it's nice to hear that our federal division's not mentioning accessibility enough, and they need to hear this. Seniors and disabled and our veterans need the funding. We need to update everything from elevators to ramps to buses to the railroads, everything across the board. And very important, since we are doing Omni, thank God, but Omni reduced fare vehicles are overloaded. We need to increase outreach and to let them know that there are customer service centers today and ever, because it gives the seniors and disabled people not to stand so long and understand there are places to sit. We need to let them know that outreaching needs to be going out more than ever, not just in one borough, but all the boroughs, and if the borders of Westchester and Nassau County borders. We need to do that as well. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alida Dupree, followed by Charlton De Souza.
Thank you. Good morning to the chair. Alida Dupree for the record. She and her with Team Folds. I made it to be here with you. I took the subway. I use the subway a lot. I average 4 times a day. I go through my 12 rides usually by the 3rd day. The reports are looking good. I think we're about 80% of ridership. So we want to get more people on the trains. Maybe some of the return to work will help that. And we just got to encourage more people to leave their cars at home or parking lot and get on the train. And I use the buses too, buses in Brooklyn quite a bit, B35 mostly, because I've been going to Brooklyn a lot. I did get on an electric bus, and I enjoyed it. And then, well, in Williamsburg, it stopped, and we all had to get off. I really believe in these electric buses. I want us to convert the fleet, but sometimes I feel like I'm having to do damage control because I don't like sharing about when that happens. So it can happen with any vehicle, but we want to keep after the electric buses. And I did see the electric bus charging station in Williamsburg. Escalators are important. I've had some challenges at 53rd and Lexington, where one time all 4 escalators were out. I can go down the stairs. I could probably go up them, but I'm not so sure I feel like testing myself sometimes. That's a 56-foot climb. So we really got to work on the escalators over there. But you know, the subway is very important to me. I was listening to some Jerry Rafferty, Home and Dry, while riding the 8 line. Jerry Rafferty was speaking of the R32s on the 8th Avenue line in that song. The subway is a system that is legendary and stately. I ask that we always remember that. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Charlton De Souza, followed by Michael Ortiz.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlton De Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. So this weekend, the U.S. Department Secretary of Transportation said that the subway, quote unquote, he said a word to, describe the subways. And we at Passengers United agree with him. The subway system is a complete mess in terms of safety. For so many years now, for the last 7 or 8 years, we've been fighting at Passengers United to make the subway system safer. And it's not gotten safer. The elected officials have lied. The police cannot do their jobs because repeat criminal offenders keep getting released back into the system. People are being pushed onto the tracks. People are getting assaulted, like the rape, unfortunately, that happened at Canal Street. Where is our subway safety? We deserve better. And, if we're paying $2.90 to use the system, we should feel safe. We should be able to go from point A to point B safely, and we shouldn't have to worry and look over our heads. You have to have eyes in the back of your head in the subway, literally, because at any moment, as soon as those doors open, anything could happen, even in an isolated stairwell. So the MTA needs to stop saying, look at our stats, look at this. I think that's very disrespectful to the Secretary of Transportation. And you guys need to let the National Guard come in and maybe let the federal government transportation security agency come in and let them take over subway security, because the minimum wage guards that you have, they're not doing anything. In fact, they've been assaulted. Police officers have been assaulted in the subway system. They deserve better. We all deserve better. So again, I call to the chairman, stop, pandering to the
Please
governor
conclude your
and be a
remarks.
chairman. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Ortiz, followed by Anna Humphrey.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful month. I just want to come on here to discuss my proposals for the Brooklyn bus redesign. As far as I know, we have my proposal for extending the B35 to JFK as a select bus route. Mainly because the B55 does not serve Sunset Park, and I think it'd be best to merge that into the B35 to have Sunset Park riders get a one-seat ride to the airport from the 36th Street subway station. The next thing I want to talk about is the Broadway Junction to Bay Ridge link with the existing B10. Why I say that is because a B10 route from Broadway Junction to Prospect Lefferts Gardens will almost not serve anyone and would instead rather be better served running from Broadway Junction to the VA hospital in Diker Heights via Fort Hamilton Parkway, as there was a planned proposal for a subway under Fort Hamilton Parkway, but that never came into fruition. And there was a bus that was supposed to serve Fort Hamilton Parkway, but that never came into fruition either. So I asked the MTA to look into the B10 map and add stops along Fort Hamilton Parkway to not only have riders serve there, but it would also be serving the Maimonides Medical Center. And this is something we definitely need without interfering with existing B16 and B12 service. And the next thing I want to discuss is another idea for the Brooklyn bus redesign is extending the B14 from Spring Creek to the Resorts World in New York City in Aqueduct. So that's all at the time I have for now, and I'll see you another time. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Anna Humphrey, followed by Jason Anthony.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Anna Humphrey, and I'm the Transportation Community Organizer with the Center for Independence of the Disabled New York. I would like to highlight several urgent transportation accessibility issues that need immediate attention. Recent findings in the New York City Comptroller's report on MTA Express bus service reveal alarming gaps in service for riders with disabilities. Despite express buses being crucial for many communities, the report found that MTA drivers lack proper training on operating wheelchair lifts, and buses are often unreliable and off schedule. Many disabled riders are often left stranded or subjected to unsafe conditions, with a significant percentage of wheelchair lifts failing, and even when they do work, delays are common. This is unacceptable for a public transit system that is meant to serve all New Yorkers. I urge the committee to prioritize funding for standardized, comprehensive driver training on lift operation or better bus designs that are more easily accessible. Additionally, we thank you for continuing to fight to keep congestion pricing alive, and we strongly support the allocation of that revenue to improve transit accessibility and ensure that it meets the needs of riders with disabilities. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by David Kuppenberg.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Anthony, the transit guru. Let's do some fact checking here. Last week, I was in the subway system, especially in the international borough of Queens. But one thing I want to say very clearly. Last Tuesday, I had the privilege to see NYPD's Transit Chief Gulata at 34th Street Herald Square during rush hours. Passengers like me have never seen that before. And we hope that keeps repeating itself again. But some people like to say, why bring in the National Guard? That's a waste of money. The NYPD, especially in Queens, is everywhere. At Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue, Sunset Boulevard, Archer Avenue, JFK Airport. I see them aboard trains. But it's up to us to report it to the MTA's complaint log if something is wrong. And I leave everybody with this. Since 9/11, we have been told that if we see something, say something. That's all I have to say for this month. And I congratulate everybody in their future ventures. And
Please
I'll see you
conclude
guys
your remarks.
later. Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Kuppenberg, followed by Adila Lihari.
My name is David Kupferberg, for the record. The MTA believes that it is more transparent than in the past. Currently, the MTA refuses to release certain information for the Queens bus network redesign. I submitted an example of bus schedule changes pre-pandemic from the MTA website. Note that for attachment 1, revenue seat miles is listed for each schedule change. Why doesn't the MTA wish to do this for the Queens bus network redesign? What is it hiding? As I said before, bus stop balancing is a mindless implementation of standard practices by the MTA and NYCT without the consideration of the effects of their actions. There is no correlation between bus speed and passenger travel time. If a bus route has many bus stops but only stops at a few of them, the elimination of bus stops has little, if any, effect on bus speed. Potential passengers, however, must walk further on average to reach a bus stop, increasing passenger travel time. This also significantly increases the chance of a misconnection. For infrequent service, a misconnection could also discourage bus usage. Bus stop balancing must always be analyzed on a case-by-case basis in order to increase bus speed without significant negative impacts to passenger travel time. No formulas. In conclusion, there must be a moratorium on the elimination of bus stops until fair and unbiased borough-wide studies are complete. Bus stop balancing has demonstrated that the MTA and NYCDOT are only concerned about bus speed, not passenger travel time. They are pretending that they will make improvements in speed travel. It is dishonest and wrong. They cannot be trusted.
Our next speaker is Zelina Lihari, followed by Cassie Rafucci.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adelina, and I'm a student at the College of Staten Island. Students like me rely on the MTA to get to and from school, and public transit issues present a serious obstacle to our education. It's a very stressful experience as a college student when you have to wait a half hour to get on the S93 specifically, and you miss a class lecture or even an exam. It's very stressful. Bus delays and interruptions in service make us late for class or late for tests. The S93 bus on campus is seriously overcrowded, and students have to wait very long to get home, leading to heightened tensions. And as a result, a fight actually broke out on the bus last semester. Students should not have to witness violence on their way to and from school. Students who take other buses to campus, such as the S62, have to walk a mile or even more than that from the bus stop to get to class. The MTA needs to serve the needs of the CSI community by fixing interruptions and delays, increasing the number of S93 buses during peak times, and expanding the routes of nearby buses, such as the S62, to run onto campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Cassie Rafucci, followed by Rolf Rahman.
Good morning, Chairwoman Holtis, President Creashow, and Transit Bus Committee members. My name is Rafucci, and I'm a member of Passengers United. I would like to address a bus accident which took place on Highland Boulevard and Adams Avenue in Duncan Hills, Grand City on Staten Island. It was going towards St. George Ferry Terminal bound. My friends who live in Staten Island called me and told me about the accident which took place last week on Wednesday, March 19th. I would also like to echo on a testimony which was spoken at the Metro North Long Island Railroad Committee earlier today about Transportation Secretary Duffy commenting about the MTA to not have funding for the MTA, which is extremely unacceptable. And I would also like to echo back on my president of Passengers United, Mr. Charlton D'Souza, and I would like to echo on what he was talking about us having National Guard in the subway system. I definitely agree 100%. We should have National Guard in the transit system. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Rolf Rothman, followed by Kirby Sykes.
Hello, how's it going? We just want to, accommodate more transit riders. Say, for instance, we want because overnight there's always it feels like we're in a hot seat because even though there's always up to mischief because it's like we need to prevent from things happening. That's why officers should stay inside of a train cars, also on every platforms. Let's say it just makes it an excursion of knowing that, let's say we have planned to, fix the MTA to make the buses running smoothly to make sure nothing is late or no face the procrastination. Likewise, I know, for instance, say we have planned to bring the system to directly inside of the CSI campus. We have also discussed the fact that we must make this a free metro cards for all students that has been struggling from back and forth around the island. Say, for instance, it's been such more delay for like much more relevance that we have to have the most significant aspect rather than making this an easy pass for us. Say we want this to bus the trains to get us on time to bypass through all traffic on the craziest line so that it's always gets us on everything. It's like a time management that gets us faced through obstacles that makes it more spiritual, that can lead to more precise in such an executive
Please
form.
conclude your remarks.
And it's just what we need to wish for.
Thank you for your remarks. Our final speaker is Kirby Sykes.
Hi there, my name is Kirby Sykes. I work for NYPIRG based at College of Staten Island. I want to first of all echo what Adelina said about College of Staten Island needing better transit. I myself rely on transit, on the MTA to get to CSI, and it's pretty difficult. CSI is a community center for Staten Island with about 10,000 students, and the transit to get here really is not sufficient. It's the number one complaint that I hear from students when I ask them about what they'd like to see changed in the world or on campus. For example, I take the S62 to campus, and today it's rainy, so I had to walk more than 3/4 of a mile in the wind and rain just from the bus stop to get to work. I'm recovering from a cold, so that's obviously not ideal, and there were about 20 students doing that with me. So this presents, when it's a nice day out, it's just a time sink, but it's kind of a nice walk. But when the weather is bad, this can present a safety issue. It presents a serious accessibility issue, and ultimately the MTA needs to be serving the needs of students and staff at CSI by expanding the S93, expanding and moving the S62 bus stop closer to the center of campus as well. Thank you.
Thank you. President Krishlow, that concludes the public comment session.
Thank you, everyone. I'll now take a motion to approve the minutes from the January 2025 meeting. Sammy, can I have a second? David, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion passed. Demetrius, are there any changes to the work plan?
No, Madam Chair, there are none.
Okay, great. So before Demetrius starts his president's report, I just want to extend my sincere congratulations to both Rachel, Bill, Chris, Frank, we're not going to talk about it. Wishing everyone continued success and looking forward to working with every one of you to make our transit system that much better. We move on, Demetrius?
Sure thing. All right, so before I get started, I did want to address one thing. I mean, I think it's clear elevator, escalator availability is a priority for us, and making sure that we have are providing that service on a daily basis is definitely paramount. So I just wanted to state the stats as of 9:55 this morning. In the system, we have a total of 391 elevators across the system. 49 of them are privately owned, 342 are owned by New York City Transit. Out of that, 32 are out for capital repair. We're doing the work necessary to make sure that they have long-term longevity and that we provide the availability of this equipment for the future, right? So being out for capital repair is actually a good thing. That means that out of that 391, we're down to 349 elevators that are active. Out of 349 elevators, 4 of them are out. 3 privately, 1 New York City Transit. So that's as of right now. New York City Transit availability is at 98.7%. 98.7% availability. And the private side, which we do not own but manage closely, is at 93.2%. Can we do better? Absolutely. We can always do better, but this board, this committee, this operating group, this agency takes this very seriously, and I just want to make sure that we give the credit due to the folks who on a daily basis keep these machines that are dated and aged in a system that goes 24/7, keeps these equipment running. So I'll tell you, I appreciate the effort that goes into maintaining this equipment. So we'll start with talking about this month. It's been a fantastic month for New York City Transit. It's been, we talk about the work that's been done. We focused on safety and service. And so we're going to talk a few things about things that have, talk a little bit about things that have happened this month. So last week, we recognized Transit Employee Appreciation Day, which was held on March 18th. It's a yearly celebration of our employees and what they do for this organization. Now, I am clearly biased working here, having worked here, having family that has worked here. I think we have the best employees. And so getting out there firsthand to show and to see what folks are doing has been a priority of mine. At 50,000 strong, they show up every day, no matter the circumstances, no matter the color of the storm clouds, they are there. And so I appreciate what they do. We started an announcement to try to get some of our customers to recognize it as well. Do we have the announcement queued up?
No, we don't have it queued up. We don't have it queued up.
Oh.
We don't have it queued up yet.
Well, we thought we had an announcement queued up.
Will we have it queued up later? Maybe.
We may or may not have an announcement queued up later. Well, it goes something like, you know, this is March 18th is New York City Transit Employee Appreciation Day. If you have an opportunity, stop and say hello to an employee and tell them how much you appreciate them, and let us know on social just how well we're doing. And thank you for riding New York City Transit. Something like that.
Nice, very nice.
We want to make sure that our customers are getting engaged, talking to our employees, acknowledging the great work that they do. On Tuesday, I had an opportunity to get out, went to Mother Hale Bus Depot. It was really a great opportunity. You can see me there in the photo. doing a terrible job of repairing a rear view windshield mirror. Just was not very good. They told me it takes 2 people. I said I could do this myself, and it didn't go very well. But I did try. Fantastic work by the team, and grateful for it. Also spent some time in some of the stations, in some of our employee facilities, and also rounded out things at the 59th Street Master Tower with some folks who were doing a great job of moving service that day. Again, our employees do an amazing job every day. Really grateful for them. And our message then, as it is today, if you see a transit worker out there doing their job, say thank you. It means a lot, not just to them, but to the organization. And if you could do it today, tomorrow, or next week, I encourage you to do so. Building out on a team, I got to tell you, it's really exciting to be able to have an organization that is poised for change. And so with that, I want to congratulate Bill as the next Senior Vice President of Subways. Yeah. I've had the privilege of working with Bill for some time now, and Bill's been as a transit employee for a while, and it's not just a career for him. It really is a passion. He's visited transportation systems throughout the world, and 2006, one unknown fact about Bill is he broke the Guinness World Record in 2006 for traveling the subway system in the shortest period of time. So there's royalty there. Over the past 3 months, Bill has served as the acting senior vice president, and performance has been strong. On-time performance is near its historic highs on both weekends and weekdays. Bill previously served as the vice president of operations support, overseeing critical functions of operating divisions. When you think about things like the speed unit, who have vigilantly and safely raised speeds across the system, it's Bill's leadership at work to move those things forward. Next, I'm thrilled to share that Rachel Cohen is serving as the permanent vice president of Paratransit. Since stepping into that role in acting capacity last May, Rachel and the team have hit record after record. Historic on-time performance, historic customer satisfaction, historic ridership. She and the team have achieved all of them. Rachel's been with the MTA since 2018, where she's been a leader in the system accessibility. Previously, she worked as a lead. Previously, she worked at TLC, the regulatory authority for our for-hire paratransit vehicles. I'm confident with Rachel at the helm that there will be future performance records that will be broken in the future.
Well, what Guinness Book World Records does she have?
Yeah, really.
We got to create one.
Well, we're working on it. I used to love Guinness Book of World Records. They sit there and read it. Just like...
Finally, I look forward to welcoming Bernard Jackson as our new Chief Operating Officer in May. So interesting story. I was in San Antonio this past weekend at a CEO function for APTA. So all of the CEOs from across the country get together and we talk shop about what could we do to better run our systems, what are the best practices that can be implemented. And it was interesting, the number of CEOs that came up to me and said, "You got the best of the best." So that just speaks to the caliber of this individual. Bernard brings a wealth of experience to transit, and crucially, operations is in his blood. 38 years since he began his career as a bus operator in Chicago. So from the ground roots, he had the opportunity to oversee bus at Chicago, then rail, and paratransit service. His career took him from Chicago to LA Metro, to Dallas, and now he will be joining us, the greatest transportation network in North America. I will lean on Bernard to deliver world-class service to our nearly 6 million customers, and I can't wait for him to get started. He's actually joined us online, and look forward to welcoming him in person soon. Bernard, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, sir, and thank you. I hope you guys can hear me okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. Cridlow. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Transportation Committee, MTA leadership team, and certainly, most importantly, the members of the public that are joined on this committee meeting call today. I am extremely excited to join, as Mr. Cridlow stated, the greatest public transit agency in the world, in the greatest city in the world. So I'm looking forward to May 5th, that day. Well, I will assume responsibility as the Chief Operations Officer for New York City Transit. It is my honor and privilege to be a part of this agency, and I'm so looking forward to being the #1 advocate for the people that ride and depend on public transit. So more to come. Countdown is on, Mr. Cridlow. I'll be joining your team here fairly soon, and I look forward to working closely with this committee and the MTA leadership team. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bernard. We look forward to seeing you. All right. There we go. We're now almost 3 months into congestion relief, and a big winner has been our buses. System-wide bus speeds are up 4% this year, with routes that run into the congestion relief zone seeing the most significant improvements. On 7 routes, we have been evaluating whether removing scheduled time points can further take advantage of the reduced congestion and improve route performance. These routes are a mix of north-south routes and into the zone crosstown routes that fully fund in the zone, an interborough route that crosses the zone via the Queensboro Bridge, and the M66, which runs just north of the zone. Since the launch of the pilot in mid-February, results have been positive. Notably, we've seen a 1.3-minute reduction in mean travel time, 4% speed improvements, and a reduction in bus bunching. Some of the largest gains have been on the M42, the M50, and the Q32. We'll continue to evaluate this pilot, but so far, I can tell you that I am encouraged. We also remain completely focused on the work in the Rockaways, which is over halfway to completion. Early in March, I had the opportunity to visit the project for the 3rd time with Council Transportation Chair Sylvina Brooks Powers. You can tell in this photo, it was cold out there. Man, it was cold. But it was great to get another glimpse of the experiences that our customers were sharing during this outage. One big thing that occurred in March was the swapping of our shuttle fleet. Since the project began in January, 64 of our R46 cars and 5 work trains have been isolated in the peninsula with no access to maintenance yards. Remember, the bridge itself was completely dismantled. The work is going on the bridge itself. So from March 11th to early March 15th, the South Channel Bridge was closed so that we could bring both the passenger and work trains to the yard to receive needed inspections and repairs and to refresh the passenger and work trains to the Rockaways. Now, you may not know how much work actually goes into moving cars like this. First thing, the performance of that route with no maintenance going to the shop, 98% of the fleet, 98% on-time performance. Just a testament of what the team is able to accomplish by having that, by providing that shuttle service. So you got 98% performance, and then we have to get these cars out so that we continue to maintain that service. There's no third rail. So trains move on third rail, no third rail. How do you remove cars? So literally you have to go out there with diesels to move all of those trains out of the Rockaways to the shops. So they did that for March 11th through March 15th. 32 passenger cars were moved out of the Rockaways, and 32 new cars were brought in for the yard. During this time, the contractor continued working to make the upgrades to the South Channel Bridge. In order to minimize the disruption, this work was done on the overnight. The third was turned off, as we talked about, and the rest of these cars will remain in the Rockaways until we complete the work. This could not have been done without an enormous amount of work in cooperation with the U.S. Coast Guard, the contractor, Chabon Construction, MTA C&D, and many divisions within the Department of Subways, including DCE, Service Delivery, and Maintenance Away. I'd like to thank anyone who had an important role in making sure things that worked out that night, getting it done with minimal disruption to both customers and to the project. And with that, I will turn it over to our new Senior Vice President of Subways. Bill Amoroso will take us through some details on the R211 and then roll right into the performance metrics.
Okay, thank you, Demetrius. Good morning, everyone. And a big thank you to Demetrius and all the great leaders that I've had the opportunity to work with in my career here. As I said a couple months ago, this is a dream job for me and something that I had hoped for as a young person getting started in the industry and never thought I'd actually reach this point. So I have a lot of people to thank for being here. And you know, I'm not just a person who is passionate about the subway, I also use the system. I don't drive, so I'm on the system almost every day. And I'm here for our employees and our customers. So with that, I'd like to talk about the R211s. It's hard to believe it's 2 years now since the first R211 came into service. First train started on March 10th, 2023. We can go to the next slide. These trains are here to replace the aging R46s, which used to see a lot of on the ANC, also throughout the system, as well as replacing R44s down in Staten Island. We're excited for riders to get to experience the R211s, which truly are the future of commuting in New York City. These trains are designed to make daily commuting better in every way. They are more reliable and more comfortable. They have wider doors than we've ever had on subway cars, which is already turning into faster service for customers. At our busiest stations, we see boarding and alighting up to 15% faster than with previous train models. There's more capacity and accessibility, flip-up seats to make the ride more pleasant and available. And riders and crews can feel more secure knowing real-time security cameras are inside the trains, as well as forward-facing cameras. So if we have any incident, we have the information to properly investigate and make things better. If you've been on these trains, we know the lighting is very bright, which adds to the security and makes it a pleasant experience. And there are better electronic strip maps with information like where the closest stairways are and the best routes to make transfers. So really game changer in terms of customer information. And for our maintenance crew, self-diagnostics help tell us what's going wrong when something does happen, so we can get those trains back in service faster. Even more importantly, these trains are what we need in order to roll out CBTC on future lines. We have CBTC under construction on the 8th Avenue line, A and C, on the Crosstown G line, and additional lines coming with the next capital program. On the next slide, you'll see one of the really exciting features, which is the open gangway. These cars debuted in February 2024. As Demetrius said, I've traveled around the world riding transit, and these are the future of subway cars, from Canada to Europe to other parts of the world. From the very first day, we put QR codes in the cars asking for rider feedback, and almost universally, customers tell us they love these new cars. So great customer feedback. There's 20 of these cars in service. We've got 10 of them on the C line as one train, and 2 5-car trains on the G. On the next slide, I enjoy some alliteration. So the G line gets game-changing gangways. As a G rider, I'm excited to see these cars. I was out there with Demetrius and electeds for the first ride, and I've been fortunate enough to catch the train a couple more times on my regular commute. If you ride the G, you know the end cars tend to be the most crowded. So having those open gangways really helps distribute ridership better. When I've been on them, I observe how customers are using them, and you see people walking through those gangways, finding the most comfortable place to sit. So it's not just a more comfortable, more reliable train, but there are lots of great customer benefits. We already have 445 trains in service. 400 R211A closed-end cars, which now make up the majority of our ANC line fleet. We've got the 20 open gangway cars and 25 cars making up 5 trains in service on Staten Island Railway. And this is the start towards 1,610 cars. By the end of 2028, this will be the second largest fleet in the system, right behind the R160s. And we're off to a great start and really looking forward to modernizing the fleet with more of these cars. Moving on to February performance metrics, we had another strong month in February as we continue our effort to use data to drive performance improvements. Weekday OTP was 82.2%, within 0.3 of a point of our performance in January. Weekend OTP was 85.7, well above our goal of 84%. And customer journey time performance was 84.8, matching the second highest performance that we've had in the last year. And a preview of March, we've had a really strong month. We're approaching 84% on-time performance for the month so far. So really proud of what the team is delivering. Thank you.
All right. I think we got Paratransit next.
Good morning. February was a very strong month for Paratransit as well. Much like our colleagues in subways and buses, we continue to see an increase in ridership and positive trends. We served more than 1 million riders in February on about 775,000 completed trips and had several days with more than 40,000 scheduled rides, continuing to set new milestones for Paratransit. Performance remained very strong, with 30-minute on-time performance greater than 97% in February, and reaching our goal of 94% of trips picked up within the 20-minute on-time performance window. Congestion relief continues to be one of the contributing factors to the success. Through the first 2 months of 2025, we've seen travel times decrease and speeds increase on Paratransit trips within the congestion relief zone. Even small increases in travel speeds give us just that buffer time that we need to keep on the schedule and ensure such a high rate of on-time performance. Customers are also telling us that they see these improvements. In our February Pulse survey, 87% of Paratransit customers said they were satisfied or very satisfied with their last trip. And that's a 5 percentage point increase from December alone. Satisfaction with travel time is up, and satisfaction for customers who live in Manhattan is particularly high. Both indicators of the positive impact customers are feeling from congestion relief in their ride. And finally, I just do want to take a moment to say thank you, to echo some of what Bill and others have said. Thank you to Demetrius for entrusting me with this role. I'm really excited to take Paratransit forward to new heights. We have an incredible team and an incredible group of leaders all around this table who are the people who I have looked up to and learned from throughout my entire career, and I'm really honored to continue joining you here. Thank you.
Good morning. So for bus, February was another strong month. We showed sustained or improved performance across key metrics compared to the previous month and February of 24. And we had several more weather events and colder days as compared to last year. Service delivery was 96.5%, reflecting a 1.2% increase from last year and on par with January of 25. Excuse me. Customer journey performance time was 73.5%, on par with last year and pre-COVID. Bus speeds averaged 8.2 miles per hour, on par with January 2025, and up 1.2% from last year and pre-COVID. Overall bus satisfaction In February is 60%, on par with January. Last trip satisfaction was at 68%, on par with January also. Manhattan customers remain the most satisfied with their last trip at 75%. The improvements in bus performance and customer satisfaction this year align with the launch of Congestion Relief Zone. Bus speeds have increased, particularly on express bus routes, and service is far more reliable. The congestion relief is providing our express bus customers with more dependable journeys. Overall, express riders are experiencing about 15% fewer delays of 5 minutes or more and 20% fewer delays of 10 minutes or more. Express routes using the QMT and the Queensboro Bridge are 5% faster, and customers are experiencing 2 to 3 minutes less delays per trip on average. Local routes in the CBD are also more reliable. 5-minute delays or greater are down 8%, and delays of more than 10 minutes are down 13%. And lastly, in closing, I just want to congratulate Bill and Rachel. Well deserved, and welcome aboard Bernard. Thank you very much.
And Chris will handle ridership.
Okay, good morning. February ridership continued the trend of growth from January and the fall. On subway, we were up to 3.91 million average weekday paid ridership, 9% growth over the previous year. And on bus, 1.4 million, up 13.4%. And Rachel, of course, talked about Paratransit, up 15.6 year over year. So all three modes are firing and growing on paid ridership, which is great to see as New Yorkers continue to trust us with their travel throughout the city. Also worth noting on bus and subway is that we see trends starting to show growth higher on Mondays and Fridays than Tuesday through Thursday, which is a nice sign that people are starting to come back on the traditionally, at least for the last 4 years, lower ridership days. We'll be monitoring this in March and April, of course, to see if this trend becomes a true trend going forward. But good to see the start here. Thank you.
Thank you to you all. Any questions? Matori.
Hi, thank you. Congratulations to our leadership, our new leaders. But I know you've always been leaders in your organization, so thank you for the commitment to the MTA. Bill, I had a question. If I remember correctly, you did a lot of work around performance analytics in New York City Transit. So I would love to hear, and this can be a follow-up, but I would love to hear how you're thinking of further incorporating performance analytics and kind of data analytics into the day-to-day operational work for our subways. So that just, not sure if you already have a strategy in mind, but that is something that I'm curious about.
Yeah, so performance analytics and data have been one of the main drivers over the past couple of years. We've built out an amazing performance analysis team that has really harnessed data down at a very granular level to understand delays in performance and trends. And we're going to continue building on that team. We've done a very good job of not just having an analytics team in the background, but showing our operations managers on the front lines how to use that data to uncover issues and drive performance improvements. So happy to deliver a more detailed presentation on that in the future, but data is a big part of how we're going to be improving performance going forward. Okay.
Mira.
Hi, I want to echo the congratulations to the leadership. These are great acknowledgments, promotions, and increasing in the breadth of the good work you already do. And also general congratulations on Staff Appreciation Day, which is every day, right? Like Mother's Day, it's every day. And thank you to all the transit workers that work so hard to deliver service for New Yorkers. The data on ridership is very promising. And my question is, to the extent that we're able to make any or draw any conclusions with respect to congestion pricing, have we? And how does this compare to what I assume was covered in the environmental review about increasing in ridership?
Yeah, thank you for your question. On the bus side, we did see, and we continue to see, a very high percentage growth on the express buses, especially on the weekends, which already have a lower base, of course, it being the weekend, but it is great to see that there is increased ridership on the express buses. And a lot of that correlates, too, with the increased speed on the express buses. That set of vehicles has been the service that's benefited the most so far from the speed increases. Massive increases across the bridge and the tunnel into Manhattan. On the subway side, given our volume of ridership at nearly 4 million, it's going to be a little bit more of a drop in the bucket, if you will. However, every drop counts. And we do see potentially 0.5% or 1% or so. It's hard to tease it out, though, I will say. So I don't want to put that as like an absolute number. But given that our ridership growth has accelerated, it could be inferred that there is there are some folks switching over to the subway. But all in all, it's a great story so far, and I think both the ridership switch, if you will, as well as the improved service from the speed increases around the system that, of course, our leadership has been taking advantage of has been very helpful for ridership.
Randy.
Congratulations, Rachel, Bill, and welcome. Look forward to meeting you, Bernard. I, too, have had the privilege of traveling around the world and seeing the success of open gangway cars, and I'm glad we'll be getting 7 more, I think, or next capital plan, or 8. Anyway, I'm glad that the public likes them as well. Thank you.
Move on. We're going to hear from Frank and Sunil, who will provide us an update on bus camera enforcement.
Thank you again. So today we're excited to share an update on ACE, or Automated Camera Enforcement, and the positive impacts it's been making on the bus service in New York, making our service faster, safer, and more accessible. But before we dive in, let's take a step back and talk about why this program matters. New York City has the largest bus system in North America, nearly twice the size of the next biggest system in the United States. Our buses are more than a transit option. They are the engine of equity for our city. They serve a wide range of customers, including seniors, people with disabilities, residents of low-income communities, especially communities of color, and countless New Yorkers who don't have easy access to the subway. And yet, despite their critical role, New York City buses are the slowest in the country, averaging just 8 miles per hour, with many routes moving even slower. Next slide, please. So now we're going to show a video that better illustrates the daily struggles faced by our operators and customers as they navigate the congestion in New York City roadways. Here's an example of our bus lanes completely blocked. It's their bus parking lots. Here's an example of our bus stops completely blocked by 2 vehicles, forcing our operators to have to load outward to safely board customers. Continue. Here we have, again, a bus stop completely blocked, ironically, by a bus. Okay, now as we navigate here, we're navigating across the street. You're going to see that we have more bus stops blocked, more bus lanes blocked. Oh, this is a very nice, expensive car. I'm glad he's able to park there and block our bus lane and ultimately our bus stop. And this shows how just one vehicle in the lane impedes. Here we're dealing with unsafe, going into the other direction of traffic. Okay, and here I believe is a bus stop. Here's the icing on the cake. There's a customer there who has a cane who cannot board our bus properly, you see. Right? More double parking here. These are all double bar cars causing our bus to have to navigate into the other lane. And I bet you I can tell how many collisions we've had as a result of that. And again, more example after example of bus lanes being impeded, bus stops blocked. It goes continuing on and on. Again here, we have our double parked cars that are ultimately causing us to have to go into the opposite lane of traffic. So after watching the video, it's clear why slow speeds and reliability are consistently ranked as the top factors driving customer dissatisfaction in our surveys. These issues are also commonly cited by our customers as areas of need of improvement. There's no irony here. In the partnership with DOT, Department of Transportation, we've implemented several initiatives aimed at enhancing bus priority, improving bus speeds, increasing roadway safety, and offering more accessible boarding and alighting options. Newly and upgraded bus lanes and busways are essential for accelerating bus service, moving up to 6 times more people compared to the space allocated for car traffic, 6 times more. And on average, bus lanes boost bus speeds by 10%, while dedicated busways deliver a 20% improvement. Notable busway successes are on Main Street Busway. PM peak speeds increased by 44%. At the 181st Street Busway, PM peak speeds increased by 43%. Archer Ave Busway, PM peak speeds increased by 57%. These advancements have meaningful impact on commute times and service availability. However, only 7% of New York City streets with bus service currently feature dedicated bus lanes. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sunil, and he's going to tell us why this is where ACE comes in.
Thank you, Frank, and members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be here. So Frank had talked about the fact that just 7% of our bus route miles are actually enforced, and that's the only way we can get faster bus speeds as well as safer travel, and not to mention better accessibility. So where do you turn to? Well, what we worked on was really automated camera enforcement. And just to give you a little bit of background around the camera enforcement, we were thankful to state legislatures to authorize camera enforcement for all dedicated bus lanes across the city back in 2019. Additionally, the state also expanded the ambit of the enforcement program to cover not just bus lanes, but also bus stops that are blocked that you saw in the video previously, and illegal double parking across our bus lanes. I want to say that we launched lane enforcement back in 2019, and we launched bus stop and illegal double parking enforcement in 2024. The good news here is that we have 34 routes across the system, across 5 boroughs, benefiting approximately 700,000 of our daily customers. So as Frank was saying, we had 7% of our bus lanes that was eligible for faster travel. Well, guess what? We've gotten that to 475 miles, which is about 20% of our bus route miles right now, across 1,000 buses. And just on bus lane enforcement itself, we are starting to see some amazing benefits. We see an average of 5% speed improvements across the system on top of the gains that we see on bus lanes and busways. We are seeing a 20% reduction in collision. That's the average reduction in collision across these routes. And the number of people who commit 2 or more of these violations are just 9%, which means that 91% of the people receiving 1 or 2 tickets actually do not commit that violation again, which means the message is going out and people are learning, which makes our lanes faster and safer. The BX35 graph out there shows you the difference as we start to implement busways as opposed to lane enforcement. The first part of the graph, the left-hand side of the graph actually shows you that on the BX35, the 12-month average peak speed increase showed up to 20% just with busways. And with the addition of lane enforcement, we see another 20% increase in speeds along sections of the BX35. Well, we are not stopping just at bus lanes. We are also making sure that we are expanding the gains and benefits that we see across bus stop enforcement as well as illegally double parked enforcement. The chart on the left shows you 3 specific examples. We are seeing this across all the routes, but it shows you 3 specific examples on the BX19, the Q109, and the sorry, is that the Q109? I think I read that wrong. Q69 and the M101. On all of these routes, we see an average of between 12% to 22% on the Q69. So the early results from enforcement outside of the bus lanes show actual speed increases along these routes. And it's not just speed increases. We are also seeing reductions in collisions. On the chart to the right, the orange line shows you that just with lane enforcement, we saw a reduction of approximately 36%. Now add bus stop enforcement and double parked enforcement, and we see a further reduction in collisions, showing you that for sections outside of the lane, you're getting all of those benefits right across the entire route of the bus, which makes our buses that much more faster, accessible, and customer loading that much more safer. And this is not just specific to making our buses faster and making the ride safer. Accessibility is such an important challenge as we start to implement the system. Wheelchair users, the elderly, people with other impairments who use our buses primarily, find it difficult when the lanes are blocked, when our bus stops are blocked, when cars or vehicles double park across the direction of travel. And it's not just our customers. Our operators try their best to maneuver into specific locations so that our customers can board the bus safely, which means that they'll have to make additional kind of turns and things like that to make sure that our customers board safely. Ever since bus stop enforcement and double parked enforcement began, we've noticed that our stops are 40% less blocked, which is great for our customers because now they can board right at the curb and the bus pulls up right up to the curb. Collisions at bus stops have also reduced. We have reduced collisions about 9% at bus stops itself, which is again a fairly large deal, not just from a bus's perspective, but from a disruption perspective too. Just want to talk quickly about what we are doing in terms of expanding the program. The first thing that I want to mention is we are adding 2 more routes at the end of April. The M2 and the M4 are supposed to go live at the end of April. The overall plan over the next 3 years is to add 60 additional routes, bringing the total number of routes to 90 routes across the system, and about 800 additional enforcement miles, which means on a system-wide basis, we would see 50% of our bus route miles enforced this way, benefiting approximately 50% of our fleet. And for any new route that's been launched, we will provide the 60-day warning period so that anybody who are subjected to the fines would initially receive a warning knowing that they have to stay out of our bus lane. Lastly, I want to say the work that we have been doing with both City DOT as well as the Department of Finance has been fantastic in terms of pulling this program together. So that's the team that's been pulling this program together. I'll pass it on to Frank back.
Okay, this graphic just shows you currently where we have enforced bus lanes within all 5 boroughs. So as you can see, this map is pretty well lit up. It's equitable across all the boroughs. But as we continue through 2027, we hope that this lights up like a Christmas tree, and also it speeds up our buses and provides that much of a benefit for accessibility to our customers. So we're really thankful again. We're thankful for our partnership with DOT, Department of Finance, and the entire team who just continues to push hard and work together to find this common good in this, because this is really making the difference in the bus system. Thank you.
And Frank, I have a question. So great, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Enforcement is always on, or on certain routes do we
So there are specific, very few specific bus lanes that are, within rush hour. But majority of them are 24 hours. So otherwise, the enforcement is on. If it's outside of the bus lane, double parked cars and bus stops are just 24/7. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you both. Medora, you have a question.
All right. So Frank and Sunil, thank you very much for that presentation. I'm curious, as it comes to the criteria for the next 60. What was impactful for me was hearing that crashes, from a safety perspective, this is really helping that program. I know one of the ways you look at automated bus enforcement is slow speeds. To what extent will you be incorporating kind of like high crash bus route corridors into the next 60?
That's a great question. I mean, typically it starts with ridership, right? And as we matriculate out, that's less of, a weighted average, right? But it's definitely, it's ridership, it's speeds, and absolutely, it's where we see significant delays, significant incidents, right? And now, again, with ACE, it has expanded us the ability that we can really get into that granular data, because we know with ACE, we're not relying on the bus lanes. We could see if there's a particular area, and I have one in mind, and we'll speak about in a couple of meetings, but we're completely impeded. Our service is impeded, and it's a direct accessibility issue for me. And so we're prioritizing ACE there because it's going to clear it up. So there's definitely many considerations involved there, including collisions.
Thank you very much, Frank. And just a quick pivot, as we look at the design for the next fleet of buses, on the zero emissions buses, I'd like to just follow up because, you all highlighted accessibility and canes and wheelchairs and ability to access the buses. I'd like to follow up in particular about the express bus. I think we've had some public comments around express buses. Would love to know in terms of the fleet schedule and the design, how we're approaching that fleet design.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. And it's something I just want to, mention to accessibility. We are fully committed to accessibility. We always have been, we always will remain fully committed. This fleet, our bus fleet, was the first in the country to be fully accessible. And we continue to take it serious, continue to improve not only our reliability, but the competency of our employees in this. We know we have more work to do, but absolutely look forward to working with you.
David?
Yeah, I'm wondering about the issue of trucks blocking lanes, and particularly trucks that are part of large carriers, FedEx, UPS, and the fact that, at least in prior discussions, they just take it as a cost of doing business and it doesn't change. Is there any effort to ratchet up the things so that they take meaningful action?
So that's a great question, because they do seem to make it as part of their business model. One thing I can say, as we're expanding the program, they're getting more and more tickets, right? So their business model is getting more and more expensive. And if it's any consolation, ACE does not fit within the bundling program, whereas there's bundling programs that these carriers can actually sort of like make settlements. That does not happen here. So they're getting the full vig for the fine, the $250 each time. So.
All right, thank you. We're now going to hear from Chief Galata. Morning, Chief.
Good morning. So just to touch on President Crishlow's point earlier, whenever I get down into the system, I always thank an MTA worker. But it's bigger than that. It's going down there and asking them what they see, what's going on in the system, what can we, as the NYPD, do better? And I think that's a big key for what we do. So I make sure the first thing I say, I shake their hands, I thank them for what they're doing, and then I follow up and I ask, what's the issue with the station? What do you see? What can we do better? And it's that partnership that grows tremendously for us, and it's a big piece of what we do. If it's Mike Kemper, Joe Nugent, Gabby Saliba, getting information together, to going down and just talking to people, right? And when we talk about what's going on in the subway system, we talk about safety. I'm going to read the numbers. They're excellent, but it's that perception of safety, right? That's the piece that we have to work on. And when I go into that perception piece, talking to the MTA worker, talking to the ridership, talking to the officers down there, that's where you get the real sense of what's going on. We're really taking a look at our biggest complaint we receive, and we get it from many different places. But what we see is the simple transit rule violations that pop up over and over again. There's members of this board who send me information. I speak to the public when out there, and we see the same thing over and over again. And we've really focused down on that quality of life issue, those transit rule violations, to make it a safer system, and then really to work on that perception. I think we're moving very much in the right direction when it comes to that, when we talk about perception. If you look at the numbers for February, the system saw 134 crimes. That's a 15.7 reduction compared to the previous February. And over the past 2 months, we've seen 28.2% reduction in crime, which amounts to 110 fewer victims compared to the same period last year. I mean, those numbers speak for themselves.
So, Chief, and I hate to interrupt you, but so, and I hate to even say this, but so what is our, Transportation Secretary talking about? If we, our numbers are saying one thing, they're saying something else? I mean, where are they getting their numbers from?
Well, we're supplying the numbers to the MTA, as we move forward, from the police department side of it. And just for us, like, it's simple. I'm going to go back to that perception piece.
Okay.
That's really the piece we're working on. But the numbers, and what the officers are doing every day, their level of engagement is the highest it's probably ever been. So I couldn't be more proud of the members of the NYPD, but also the team at the MTA that works with us down there, the station agents, the gate guards. I mean, this is a true partnership, and it works.
So Secretary Duffy just is saying perception it's not safe, or?
I'm not going to.
Right, I don't want to get into it.
No,
right,
no,
but
I
I'm
don't want to get into it. I'm not. This is it. I can only the numbers reflected by the NYPD.
Right.
And I'll leave
And we
it
should
there.
be proud of these numbers. I mean, we're keeping the subway system safer. We're trying to.
It's been a true investment from the police commissioner and mayor straight down, putting those extra cops out there, getting cops on the overnight trains, getting more cops on the platforms and on the trains. That shift there alone, I think, was one of the biggest pieces we saw, was getting away from the turnstiles, getting the cops on the platform. And why was that so important? That's where 78% of our crime occurs.
And without you telling us, I'm assuming that there are more cops. I mean, I see it. More cops are in the system.
Yeah, we put a big investment into moving cops into the system. I think you said the numbers speak for themselves.
Great. Okay. Chief, are you done? Only because I think I opened up the floodgates, and thank you. Okay, so Midori, Andrew, Sam.
Chief, thank you so much. And so I understand many more cops in the system. How many are we talking about kind of patrolling the system each day? Estimate?
Yeah, that number fluctuates today, but it's
Okay.
a lot. I mean, we have officers that are on overtime in the system. We've moved additional officers from administrative jobs. That's 181 from there. We moved a good portion of our FTU officers, our new field training officers, riding the trains at night. So I can't give you the exact number, but it's a big investment.
Yeah, and as Chris sometimes say, more people are trusting us with their commutes, right? And so there is ridership up in our subway and bus system. And then talking also with like the new fleet that's coming in, it just feels like cognitive dissonance to me when I ride the subway system every day, and then I hear different leaders kind of talking about how our system is not a good one. We're kind of the best transit system in North America. So thank you for your work and those statistics.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I think Secretary Duffy's comments were a real slap in the face to our hardworking NYPD and MTA officers that are throughout the system. People are seeing them everywhere, and I'll never forget one of Chief Kemper's great quotes from when he spoke at one of our PCAC meetings, which was, subway crime represents 2% of the city's crime. 2%. You're actually safer in the subway than you are walking in the street by those standards. So the whole thing is just aimed to make a point, obviously. I think riders are feeling a lot better seeing the officers, and I've watched them move from car to car. I think that's very important. I guess the open gangways will make it even easier for them to do that.
It will, and that's part of the instructions we give them. We want them to go out, move from car to car, make contact with the conductor, make contact with the motorman, make sure that announcement's put over that there is an officer on the train. When I'm down on the platform and I pull up, they immediately play that thing. There's an NYPD officer at this station. I think that adds to people's sense of safety as well.
And when they're patrolling in cars that have locked ends, they are going out on the platform and going into the next car, right? They're moving through the cars.
Their instructions to step out onto the platform, look for conditions, and move to the next car.
Great, thank you.
Sammy.
I think it was very, we talk about managing perception. We get it at the local level. To get it from, a federal cabinet secretary is pretty disappointing. I think people love to pick on New York. People really hate what New York is, and now it's more than ever. We're a place where people find a way to live together, despite our differences, our eccentricities. And New York is a dynamic place, always changing. It's hard to keep up. And the MTA and the NYPD are in this partnership where they always have to keep up with those changes, not just what's happening in New York, but culturally across the United States. Every symptom of what happens in this city is experienced on our system. The numbers are terrific. So if you were going to make a statement based upon empirical data, it certainly would have been very different from the one the Secretary made. So I think we're doing a great job. I think we've had to respond to a lot of conditions that were unprecedented, which is kind of the history of the NYPD and the MTA. We've always had to deal with the system kept running, and I think we're clearly getting safer. So I think that there's other places for the Secretary to look, perhaps people closer to proximity to him. We feel every symptom of what happens in this city. So what will not help is cutting funding for social service nonprofits. That does help to keep people off the streets. That does help keep people fed. What will not help is cutting education resources that will help kids find ways into after-school programs, music programs, art programs. So I think there might be better uses of time than coming after the MTA and the NYPD before you've actually looked at our data.
Anyone else? If not, thank you, Chief Collada, for all you do, and all the members of the NYPD for keeping and the MTA police for keeping our system safe. We're now going to move on to our transit procurement section of the meeting. Lou?
Yes, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
The New York City Transit procurement package includes 2 items this month. The first is a request to award a competitively negotiated contract for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of 4 bus operator simulator systems to E-Tech Simulation Corporation. This will be a 6-year contract with 2 2-year options totaling $1.4 million. This procurement is part of a key initiative by the Department of Buses and MTA Bus. The new simulators will be used for training new bus operators, operators returning from long-term absences, and operators involved in collisions, crashes, and/or other incidents. There will be 3 BOS systems installed at the Zariga Training Central Maintenance Facility and 1 system installed at Spring Creek Bus Depot. Best and final offers were received from 3 vendors in December 2024. The selection committee reviewed each in accordance with the evaluation criteria and unanimously recommended E-Tech for award as it provided the best overall value for the authority, received the highest technical scores from the selection committee, and was the least expensive. The second and final item is the approval to exercise an option to extend the term of a miscellaneous service contract awarded to Trillium CNG for the operation and maintenance of compressed natural gas fueling facilities for the Department of Buses and MTA Bus. This is for a period of 3 years in the total estimated amount of $10.1 million. Currently, DOB and MTA Bus operate 4 CNG fast-fill fueling facilities at depots that support CNG-powered buses. They are Jackie Gleason and West Farms that are operated by DOB, and College Point and Spring Creek operated by MTA Bus. Combined, these fleets service a fleet of approximately 731 CNG buses daily. Under this contract, Trillium is responsible for the maintenance and operation of each of the 4 CNG facilities from the point where the natural gas enters the facility through the compression stages and up to the point where the compressed gas is dispensed at the fueling stations. DOB and MTA Bus employees' role in operation of the facilities is limited to supervisory oversight and actually fueling the buses. The pricing for this option, which was negotiated and established as part of the base contract, is based on a consumer price index adjustment and has been found to be fair and reasonable. I submit these procurements for board approval.
Any questions for Lou? If not, can I have a motion to approve the procurements? Sammy? Second by Midori. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Thank you. We're ready for my favorite part, the All-Stars.
All right. So this quarter, I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because of time, but this quarter we have 11 individuals who have really stood out with their work for the MTA and New York City Transit in specific. Just fantastic work that they've done all around. The first of which is Hugo Navarro from Subways. Hugo did some work in standing up a control center at Livingston for Maintenance Away to respond, handle, and address issues when there are severe weather and subway incidents. So thank you, Hugo, for all of your work. Superintendent Michael Beard from the Facilities Group. That's Hugo over there in a nice blue shirt. Superintendent Michael Beard with the beard. Would you stand, Michael? So Superintendent Beard was a steady force during emergency operations and handling the protocols and operations and efficiency. He worked specifically on the EAM system, the storm operations, GIS mapping of individuals and assets, and also employee training. He's been a huge asset to have aboard the team. So thank you so much, Michael. Terrence Clark. Where's Terrence at? There's Terrence. Terrence Clark is one of our cleaners at Fulton Street Station, one of the more difficult locations, one of our busiest locations. Been here 6 months and has made a huge difference in how he's maintained the system. Already has a number of customers who see him and smile on the way in. So really grateful for all your work and appreciate what you do. Car Equipment's Pei Chun Kai and Michael Tugno. Sorry, I told you I was going to mispronounce your name when I saw you earlier. So, you know, most folks know salt is bad on equipment. Salt, bad. It's just bad on our equipment. What they did was create a way for a specialized cleaning product that when we have the salt that's being used to salt our platforms and assets, it's hard to get off of our trains. It's hard to get off of it. It just kind of cakes up and it winds up running through the system and actually winds up ruining our assets on the inside of the car. Customers hate it. But they went through found a solution, and because of their work, we're now using a new product to keep our cars clean. So thank you for that. Appreciate your efforts.
That's great.
Sama Ashok, Superintendent of Queens South Road Operation, also known as the king of all things Queens South. Where's he at? Oh, there he is over there. He's been really instrumental in the Queens bus network redesign. He's actively engaged in shuttle work, always out there, always a familiar face, a smiling face for our customers. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much. Bus Command Center's General Superintendent Johan Ernst. Where is he at? There he is, right there. This guy is always level-headed, keeps his head cool under stress and circumstances. Anyone that's ever seen or worked or watched television that's seen someone in the control center knows what kind of pressure you can deal with in other circumstances, especially when it's a really rough day, storms and things of that nature. This guy is able to get things done, and not only himself, but motivates other people to do well as well. So thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate it. Jerome Malone, he's from Brooklyn Road Ops. He's one of the ones that makes sure, there he is right there. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. I love it. Look, he's great at on the road, on the fly, adjusting bus schedules to make sure that we provide customers with the service that they deserve. And he's one of the best at doing it. So thank you so much, Jerome, for what you do. Next up, Johnny Fish Sticks Cuevas. Where's he at?
I'm a captain of a party boat. Especially what's up.
Very good.
I appreciate the direction the MTA is going. I'm on the battlefield. I'm a bus driver, so I appreciate the direction, you know, the MTA is headed.
All right.
And again, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Johnny's one of our bus operators. You know how you always have certain people in our operations that take the lead. You don't have to be a manager or an assistant chief or a chief or a president for that matter to take the lead. You could be a bus operator, you could be a cleaner, you could be a station agent, you could be a train operator, you could be a conductor, and take the lead amongst your peers. Johnny is that guy. He's one of the guys who mentors other folks in how to snow fight, how to prepare our equipment, his dedication, his warmth. I mean, these are the things that they wrote in to describe him. So 25 years. Grateful for everything you do, Johnny. Thanks so much. Rosemary Venero, she is our General Superintendent of Paratransit Command Center. You know, through all of this challenge, through all of the changes in paratransit, the team has continued to deliver. We keep saying that. You know, increased ridership, increased service, increased trips, yet customer satisfaction continues to be great. Thank you for being a part of that success. We know that you had a huge hand that played into doing that. And lastly, Bus Service Planning Manager Robert Thompson. There he is. Look at that. Stoutly figure. Robert Thompson has been instrumental in one of the things that has been absolutely a priority, spoke about a little bit earlier today, and that is getting dedicated bus lanes for the Bronx and the 96th Street bus lane in Manhattan. Look, we need bus lanes, it's no question. That's the only way we're gonna make this system the best system possible, and our buses we need it for our bus system. This guy is one of the guys that makes it happen. Thank you for everything you do, appreciate you. And that's it, Hader, that's the team.
No, really, I got to figure out where you if you only knew. But anyway, so no, like I said, this is my favorite part of every quarter when I get to meet all these when we get to meet all these wonderful all-stars that make our system that much better. But it was a true pleasure meeting you, and congratulations on behalf of everyone here. We're going to take a picture, but before that, we need a motion to adjourn. Okay, second. All those in favor? Thank you.